And we are live on YouTube. Well, this is like the first time streaming my live classes, so I'm streaming a class. So you guys are ready, ba? Especially you, Christopher. Hello, Christopher. All right. So let's begin. I'm gonna start with the normal short prayer as usual. So let's begin. Father, I thank you for today's class, and I thank you for how you've helped us to see our day. And today we are going to round it up with this class. And it is all by your mercies and all by your grace. Lord, I ask that you should have a way also to this class also to let your spirit of understanding come and envelop every one of us and give us that understanding heart and understanding spirit to go about what we're about to learn right now and help us to implement it in the future. In Jesus' name. Amen. So oh, what I want to talk about was lists. And you've come across lists. When they say list, it's like a bunch of things written down, either with number one, number two, number three, and all of those things. So if I keep on uh, right doing something like this now, you will see that my Visual Studio Code is showing me number one, number two, number three, number four, number five, number. So a list always contains this kind of things. You get, so a list is more like a bunch of things written in an orderly format, you get, or what I say, a kind of like bulleted format. Or whenever you're writing whatever you are going to market with, you want to go to shopping or you go to Stanel and you want to go to a Coca, for example, you always want to like create a list of the things you want to use and go to market. So in HTML, we have that kind of thing, and to be able to do that, or to be able to create lists in HTML, you need to use uh, the tag specifically for lists. Okay, so we're going to delete all of this and create our boilerplate. So let me set up the boilerplate HTML doc. So after setting up this doc, now, like I mentioned before, we have two type of lists. We have unordered list and ordered list. Now, for unordered list, now for example, if I want to create a list for another list doesn't have, when it says something is unordered, it doesn't have like a kind of special arrangement given to it. It is not in an orderly format. So to use another list, I'm gonna use this tag ul in the tag. So this is for an ordered list. Yeah, an ordered list. Now inside this unordered list tag, I'm going to now start listing the elements. To list an element, to list the contents that we want to drop out, we have to use this li tag. Okay, so I can say the first thing I want to come out in the list is, we can say I want name to be there. Then the second, I'll open my list tag again and say I want class to be there. Then the other one, I want another list. I want another list. Let's call it session. So open the list and give it a name, session. All right.
Sorry for interrupting. Are you treated with the assignment?
I'll do that after this class. We are running behind schedule
Okay, okay, okay.
of
Have you gone for?
no, I just started right now.
Okay.
So if I should come to my live preview, it should give me a live preview of this list over here. So let me refresh that. Now, if you see this now, this is an example of an unordered list. So unordered list usually come with these bullets. Okay, this circle-like bullets. You should have seen something like this in MS Word. I don't know if you guys are conversant with something like that in MS Word, but in MS Word we use something like that. And there is also another type whereby you have to also use uh numberings in different types of listing in your MS Word. But so in HTML, another list comes with a bullet. All right, another list comes with a bullet. And let me give you a hint. Another list is what you use to create your navbar. Okay, so we use this another list to create your navbar. Uh, Maybe in the future, I'm going to talk about Flex and CSS Grid and all that. So using Flex and CSS Grid, that's what you're going to use, and that's what you're going to use and create your navbar. You get, and all of those other things. So let's proceed. So, and also, I'm streaming the class. I forgot to tell you guys. Especially tonight, slasher. So let me pose this on my status before doing any other thing. All right, let's proceed. So, like I said, we have another list. Then there is another type of list that you always come across, and that is the ordered list. Now, for ordered list, is always something like this. It comes with the ordered list tag. I'm going to make it easier for us to understand. So by typing the actual tag itself, not a meta abbreviation. So ordered list, that is what it means. Use your enter key, create a list by using the list tag. So list, we can say, let's give it that same thing again. Name, create another one, list, and give it a name also, class. Then another one, list, and give it a name, session. Okay, so if I should refresh this, you will see another type of list that will come out, but this time around it is being numbered. So this is an example of an ordered list. Why it is called an ordered list is because it's being numbered. Okay, you guys are following, but
Yes. Yes.
all right. So now remember remember when I talked about attributes. Now this list also have attributes that you can actually use. You get. Now for this first list, this is our unordered list. And also, Vivian, when you before you came, I said something that we use this unordered list to create nav bars. You get, and use usually we use this to create our nav bar. All those nav bar you see on your mobile browsers and your desktop browsers, they are always done with lists. Okay, so that's one of the things I missed to tell you before you came in. Now, since we have attributes now, we can actually like create a list style for this our unordered list. Remember when you're using your HTML, we have the bulleted one, which is like this type of bullets, circle-like bullets. We can actually have another type that is like box, okay? Another type is like disk and all of those things. And you can actually make a list that doesn't have any bullets and any of all these things attached to it. So if I want to do that, I'm going to use the CSS attribute. So style, then there is a CSS property called list style type. It is dedicated for lists. So list style type. Okay. Then put my semicolon. And said I want this list style to be, I can say square. Once I say this list style type should be square, if I should come over here and this should refresh, what I will see here is that this circle will change to square immediately. So that's changed to square. If I should say I want it to be disk, I want it to be a disk. I come here and refresh. Since I'm using live preview, it should automatically refresh. When I say I want it to be disk, oh, not disk actually, this was a mistake. Disk. When I say I want it to be disk, another style of what I say bullets will come out, which is this. Then I can say I want it to be circle. I want it to be a circle. So then another style should come out and give me a circle, which is this. So it's up to you to know the type of bullet style or the list style you also want to use in your unordered list. So if I don't want it to have any list style, I can change this list style and set it to none. And change this list style and set it to none. And when I set it to none, you see nothing here anymore. You get. So maybe when you will be creating your navbar, we'll get into creating of navbar very soon. So when you will be creating your navbar in the future, you most likely use this another list, and after using another list, I can give it a list style of none. And when you give it a list style of none, all this uh listing style attached to it will disappear. Okay. So another thing I want to talk about.
Sorry, I want to add something.
Okay.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Yeah, very well.
You said the unordered, that is the UL, is the one we use to create the nav bar, right?
Yes.
The UL, yes. Why is the OL not used?
You can actually use anyone. If you use OL, you might most likely want to use this attribute, this CSS attribute, and set the style type to be none. You get. So if you notice, most of the list that you see on your different websites that you visit, you actually like don't see any numbers attached to them or even bullets attached to them. You get. Worst case scenario, you most likely see an icon attached to you see an icon attached to a what I call it, a nav bar or one of the contents of the nav bar. But apart from that, you most likely use list type none. That is this thing over here. Okay. I've answered your question, right?
Yes, yeah.
All right. So let's proceed. Now, you're welcome. Now, you can actually create a list inside a list. You get. I don't know if you've come across situations whereby a navbar we have on a navbar you typically have an option on a navbar, but when you now click on an option on the navbar, you now see other options there. But you can that is like having like a list inside a list. So say for example, I have this list already. Then I can say that in this list I have already, I'll create another list inside of it. So I can say inside this class, inside this list, I have class as the listing option or the list option there. I can say create another unordered list inside of it. And when I create another unordered list inside of it, I'll open it up and create a list. And this list might be like a sub menu. You know, in menu on mobile phones or some website, you might actually have a sub menu. The same way we have like they say you go to Net Nigeria and you go to you visit movies or videos, and they will tell you foreign videos or series and all of those things. When you click on an option, they will give you sub options on it. So it's more like creating a list inside a list. So inside this class list, I will create another list and say you can say batch A and batch B. But so let's say list, let's say, call it batch A. Then create another list and call it batch B. Now, if I should open this, I'll see what I've done and see that inside that class now I now have two extra options attached to it. This is like the basic building blocks of how bullets, or let's say how not just bullets, but how menus are created. A menu and a sub menu. You get. So if I should remove this list type here, I can remove this list type and just close everything entirely. Close everything entirely. Move the style. Then I refresh my browser. This is how it will look like. And if you've used MS Word too, you would have done something similar to this at some point. Like if you use it like conversantly, you would have done something similar to this. You get. And also, you can actually make this list. Let me connect some dots now. You can actually make this list to be a link. You get, you can create a list, then inside that list, you put a link inside. Say, for example, let me create another sub list inside this section. So I'll create another, I'll call it sub menu from now on. So another list. Then in this another list, I will create my list. Now, as I've created my list now, for me to make the next thing I'm going to put inside there a link, I'll use that a tag typically. So a tag, create my a tag, then say that I want this, the name of this to be 2020 2022/2023 section. That is under this option. Then I can create another list too. Give it a list, give it an anchor tag, then call it 2023/2024 section. Okay. I should come over here. I will see another option, another list option. Though it will appear, but nothing will actually happen because this is not. I've not given it a href attribute. So that's what I'm gonna do here, and I'm gonna make it. Let me type two places at once. I don't know if you've come across this kind of thing on your VS Code, typing at two places. If you want to type two different places, but you want to type the same thing, you can use this option. Just hold your shift and click on those places you want to type. Sorry, hold your alternate, not actually your shift. Just do your alternate and click on those places you want to type, and it will start typing. So let me refresh this again, and it will turn into a link. Usually, a link is always blue, so this is it. So you guys are getting my point back.
Yeah. So with you made a list. You inserted a link in a list in one of the lists to make it. If you click on it, it will take you to a site.
Yeah,
There's link on it.
exactly.
Uh, but why did you not have to have a UL inside an LI again? Like it got complicated in that part.
Okay.
Why didn't you straight up make it LI? Why do you have to use another UL inside it?
Now, you doing this now, you are indicating the type of list that you want to use. Yet, so UL is saying that this is unordered. Li is just indicating that this is just like a list. Yeah, we are saying that this is more like saying, that table when you are using table. It's more like saying something like table data without putting it under a table. When we are creating tables, remember, now before we start to create a table, we need to create the table tag first. Then after creating the table tag, we now start putting table rows, and after table rows, we now start putting the table data and all those stuff. Exactly. The question you asked me now is synonymous to this question. Can you just go and type table data without putting it inside is what I call it is parent tag? Let's put it that way.
you know,
You know,
you know, table row. See, this why this one is more confusing. It is repetitive, like it was repeated. The other one was table row, table header or table data. You get right?
yeah,
But this one is you have is as if you have a table row and then you come inside a table row that has a table data. You open the table row data and have a table row again inside the table data. That is what's going on, right? Like, like the okay, yeah, that's what you're saying. Like the UL, yeah, the UL already, the session already has, how would I say it? The session has a UL, then it has the link, which is like the table data, right? No, like assuming the session is the table header, the another link, another list, sorry, is the table data. Now the list, the LI, I mean the list, right? Well, I think it's clear enough to me. Oh. That is where you insert what you want, like the batch A and batch B he did in the class part. It's just that this one has he wants to make it a link. That's why the A tag came in. No, I think the tag thing that's confusing for you, right? It is not the tag thing actually. So what's confusing me? This whole program is enclosed by the ETL. That's what made it a list in the first place, right?
now,
So are we trying to okay wait, are we trying to have a list inside a list? Is that why this is still embedded inside its main list? Like
okay, see, okay,
okay, let me
let me explain let me explain this better. Now, you have. I'm going to start from start. I'm going to start afresh and explain this. I'm not going to delete the original on other list, but I'm going to just break it down here. Now, I have another list. This thing here, it's not like if I write li, like it's not work. It's not like if I write li now, for example, li now, or list something and say this high, it will not bring out this. It will not bring out this high as a list. You get? It will definitely bring it out as a list. But now, if I am using the use ul, the reason I use ul is you are grouping everything together. You're saying that everything that is going to be passed into this ul tag is an unordered list. You are indicating the type of list that is going to be inside this ul tag. So ul means unordered. It is not giving this kind of numberings. Okay, it's not saying that this is number one, number two, number three, number four, all of those stuff. It's not being numbered. But using another list, we tell it, okay, just give it maybe bullet form, normal lists, the normal list we used to come across in maybe now MS Word and uh, MX Excel and all those stuff. Just give it that type of list. So you can create this another list. Then inside that another list now, you now start listing out your main lists. You get your main list will now be here. So I can say I can call this name, or let me use something that will generalize our understanding on. We can say home. Then in the next one, I'll create another list too and say contact us. This is more of what we see on websites, but create another list and say this will be our service list or service option. So I can say services. Then the next one, or I'll give it as the last one, I'll call it blog. Now, all of these things are already listed out. Now, if I want to list another list inside any of all these things, me listing another type of list inside this list already listed here, any one of them I choose, it's like saying I want to create another sub list. Yeah, I want to create another sub list in this one that is available already. Okay, so even if I put the normal type of list, it will still show. But the idea of grouping everything together, you get, if I group all of them together, I can be able to like start all of them at once. You get, uh, it will be working as a group for me. So I can say an another list again will be inside this. It's like I was saying, it's not that if you put your normal list, it will not work. It will work. But this another list is like indicating the type of list that you are dropping inside this place. You get, anywhere you're putting it is just, you're just saying this is the type of list that I'm dropping here. This is just it. I don't know if you get my point.
So, from what you just did now, which means inside this sub list you want to do, can you actually make this sub list an OL instead of UL, like an ordered? Can you put an ordered list inside
Yes, you
an
can.
ordered list? Like you want to make that one numbered. Like anything you want to write under this compact box now, you want to number them.
Yes, you can.
Can you now use OL instead of UL?
Yeah. Let me do that immediately now.
Okay.
Let's see.
Understood what I was asking for.
Okay. So if I should render this out, let me just finish this off. If I should render this out, you will see the way it will appear. As you can see, the number is here. That is number one. So since it's clear already, I don't know if is there any other distance. Then we're gonna do something else. I'm going to create another type of HTML file for this list, so it will be clearer. Is anything happening or is anything wrong? Okay, let's proceed. I'm gonna shift this so I can stop the server. So I'm going to create another uh, or give another example to break this thing down very, very well. Okay. And that example is like us building a nav bar. Giving an example of doing all these things with a nav bar explanation. Okay. Now I'm going to create my boilerplate doc. Now in this body, I'm going to create my another list. And let's give it a list. Now, once we create a list, we can actually work with a link. Remember, you can turn anything into a link, but you can turn any text. You can even put your a tag and insert an image inside that a tag. When I mean insert an image, I mean put an image tag inside that a tag, like you have told you already, and turn that image into a link. Okay, so I can come here and I'll give this hash. I don't want it to take us anywhere. Then I'll say home. I want us to create a navbar. So is an example. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this, duplicate it so I can be able to be fast. Copy it, paste. I want our navbar to be up to 5. Paste, paste. So give me an example. What do you guys mostly see on a navbar of a website apart from home? Tell me something. Let me fill it up. What do you guys see on a navbar?
Login, sign up, login, and about us, contact us.
Yeah.
Menu.
Menu is like the hamburger menu. I will talk about that one later in the future. About us. Christopher, what about you?
FAQ. As frequently asked questions.
Well, you don't visit websites now, but so as they visit website now, you if you don't see some of these things like frequently, yeah, you you will be seeing themselves most of the times. You are seeing them.
Definitely. Now that's the get out of here.
Now, after we are done creating this, if I list it out here, render it on my browser, load it up. After rendering it on my browser, it has loaded up like this. I don't know if you've come across whenever your website is loading up like this, your JavaScript and all those CSS have not loaded, and it will start loading up like that. I don't know if you've come across something like that before.
That happens.
Are you serious? Like, which means like.
So that thing that I was talking about, if that's before the JavaScript platform download.
Yes, exactly. So this is how the whole thing comes out. Whenever your CSS has not loaded, it will happen like this. You get. So let's give this a name. Let's give this title. Let's give it a title. This is the first time I'm doing this in a long time since I've been teaching, so I can give it like a name. Menu page. So after doing this, the next thing I'm going to do now is the styling. The styling. Okay. So in the styling, what I'm going to do is, I don't know, should we do it external CSS or should we do it inside the 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 web page?
Do it external. It's more clearer at external CSS.
Okay. So for external CSS, I'm gonna use this link here. When I use this link here, I'm going to start linking. Oh my god! Wait, please let me go and check this way they knock on my door. Okay, let's start again. Omo. Okay, let's just continue. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. God, I beg. I don't want to talk too much about this matter. So I will link the CSS. So HTML underscore lists to the CSS. Okay. So after that, the next thing I'm going to do is to go over to my CSS page. Now, remember, like I said, if you want to style an element, you need to list that element, give that element, or let's say write down that element on your CSS file. Since we've not reached the whole classes and lists, sorry, classes and ID and all that. But this is the last example we're going to do here before going to classes and ID. Now, here, to style this list, this another list, and as a whole, I'm going to use UL. The UL elements, you write it down here. Give it curly braces, enter. Now, when I use that CSS attribute, remember that CSS attribute that we called, what did we call that CSS attributes? To remove these dots, we use yes, we use the CSS property called list style. The style type. Exactly. then set it as none. Now we use this CSS property and we set the list type to be none. And when we refresh this, we don't actually when we refresh this, the those bullets has disappeared. But then
Mm-hmm.
as we have done that, we can say, okay, I want to give this list a background color. What color should this list have as the background? So I can come here and give the another list a background color and say, let's give it a background color of yellow. Yellow is always loud, clear. So when you refresh, when you refresh, you find that all of these things are on the background of yellow bar.
This is a broken.
Now, after that, I will do something else. I will do something else here. We can give this a padding. No, when you give something a padding, if you look closely, this thing is clustered to the edge of this background. Now, padding kind of like add, will I say, a little space to it. So I can give it a padding of, let's say, 5 or maybe 2. So padding of, let's give it 5 pixels and see how it reflects. It's looking too big. Let me keep it at 0 and see what happens. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come over to this and do something. Remember, you can style these links. So I can come here and style this link and say, I want this A to have this style. I can say I want the color to be black. So color of this link, I can say I want it to be black. Huh? Then I can say that I want to also remove this underline that is attached to it. So I can say, come here, give it text decoration. So remember the text decoration that we talked about. So text decoration, we say text decoration should be none. After text decoration being none, I can change the font family because I actually don't like this handwriting. This actually annoys me. I don't know why. Let me refresh this first so that this underline will disappear. Now I'll make my text decoration to be none, which I've already done. Then font family. Make my font family to be sans serif. Now give the font family to be sans serif after changing this. Now the next thing I'll do after doing that, I can say, okay, I can come over to this place, my list. and also give it a kind of styling that I want. I can say I want the color of my list to be black. Now, remember when I said if you want to style two different elements and both of them will have the same style, it's better you add the two of those elements together, but so that you carry out your style like on its own. I don't know if you get what I mean.
The one you put comma, abi?
Yes, that is the one I put comma. So if I want to style two different elements and both of them, the style I'm giving both of them are the same, I'll just have to join the two of them together and separate them with a comma. You get?
Yeah.
And also, there is another thing too you need to learn. If I don't put a comma, I'm going to explain that here now. Let me use this opportunity and explain that. If I come here now and I don't separate this with a comma, li, this is the first list. This is a list, li, list element. Then this is an anchor tag element, a link element there. If there is no comma separating it, I'm kind of like saying, let this, whatever that is happening here, all this design, all this style should be directed to a link, the link that is inside this list, or that is inside the list.
I'm sorry. Sorry. I don't understand.
Now look at this HTML code. This is a list bar. Now this is a list. Then inside this list we have this a tag bar. So let's call this list a parent tag, the parent element. This li, the parent. Then the one inside it is not like a child. I don't know, Christopher, you are getting my point, ba? So I'll
Yeah.
now when it comes to your CSS, if I want to style this thing that I just did here without putting comma is kind of like saying I want to style this a tag that is inside this list. I'm not like styling the list, but that a tag is inside the list. I don't know if that is clear enough.
Okay, for instance,
That means you don't want to style the list.
list is just the name.
Yes,
So
exactly.
you're giving them the direction of the place where the A is located.
Exactly.
Like maybe A is in another place. You're looking for the particular one in the list.
Exactly.
Just like the one in
So if I should create an a tag here now, I should create an a tag outside. Why is this automatically not working?
Okay, what you're saying is that what you're saying is if you want to style the A, if you created another A inside the external CSS
Yes.
and style, that means all the A tags should be styled. But if you do it that way, that means you're specifying that it's only the A that is inside lists.
Yes,
that should be
exactly.
styled.
Exactly. Now
So
look,
if there is an A outside the list,
exactly.
it will not be styled.
Like this one I placed outside the list now. outside that another list or the list. This one that is outside it here now. If you look, all those style I was giving that A is not affecting it. You get until this thing now is now placed inside the list. If it's placed inside the list now, that is when that stuff will reflect. Let me place this well. That is when it will reflect. So if I come here and refresh now, this thing will change in style. Just watch. Are you seeing it? You just change in style.
Yes.
So let's proceed. So as I've styled this and said, okay, I want this to be like this. I want the sound. I want the text decoration to be known. I want the font style to be or font family to be sans serif, and I want the color of the text to be black. I can also give it a text alignment. So the text alignment. I can give it a text align and say I want the text align to be center. Then also do another thing to it. I can say that I want it to have a padding. Now, remember, you will find there will be a difference in how this text is arranged. So I can say padding of 10 pixels. So padding of 10 pixels. Yeah, individual padding will change. You see the gap has increased.
Yeah.
So
Your own didn't go to center.
no, it's already at center. It's actually at center. You get. It's just is that individual link. That link. The link is already at the link is already at center. Then there was something I missed to tell you guys. No, you can actually align an image to the left or to the right. Like, you know, the same way. Okay, I don't know. I talked about it, but aligning, we can align text. Yes, an image. The same way you can align text to the right or left, you can actually align an image to the left or right. You get. So, and I can also align a list to the left or right. But to do that, how you are going to do that is using this attribute called float. There is an attribute that is called float. So a CSS attribute called why am I calling it attribute? It's not meant to be attribute. There's a property called float. Okay, so you use the CSS property called float and give it the direction of where you want to float it at. So I can say I want this list to float towards a particular angle or towards a particular direction. So list, if I say this list should float towards the right, this list will automatically move to the right. So let's say list floats to the right. Once I set this to float towards the right and I refresh this page, automatically this list will move to the right. You get. Then if I should give it to be floating towards the left, the way it's going to be arranged is that it's going to move towards the left. Oh my god, my phone wants to switch off. Nope, not today.
Right. Right from the popular.
Now, if I move it towards the left, something is going to change too. It's going to move towards this left. Yeah, I'm hearing you.
Yes. No, I was saying when you get close to the right,
Yeah,
what I'm saying is it's going to the top instead of from the way it was arranged before.
it went to the top and went towards the right direction. Now,
Right.
you know, when it comes to creating navbar, I'm going to say this one currently. When it comes to creating navbar, there are actually two ways of doing this. Now, there is a method called CSS Flexbox, uh, or CSS Flex, where you say, I want this to be CSS flexed, and I want the flex direction to be like this, and all of those things. Once you use CSS Flex, you can actually use it and create a navbar, or you can actually use this float option here. You get, you can use this float option to also direct where your CSS is going, or sorry, to direct where your how your navbar is going to be moving. I don't know if I'm making sense.
Wow.
Okay. So I need to finish up this rectify this background color. Now there is another CSS, what I call it, property. I purposely want to keep quiet now, so I won't make that mistake of saying attribute. I don't know why I keep on saying attribute when I'm not supposed to say attribute. So we call it overflow, and it's kind of like hides anything that is overflowing. If you notice that even our this thing is not here, our background color is not here. So we use this property called overflow and make it hidden. Yeah, so it will hide anything that is overflowing. Whenever they say something is overflowing, it's like outstanding spaces. It's going to hide it. And also give this a margin of zero. Yes, give it a margin of zero. Margin is almost the same thing as padding, but just that you are focusing on the external part. I think I talked about it in the last class or last class. I can't remember when I was explaining something on padding. Are you guys lost?
Trying to understand what all these ones are not doing.
It's new, but
The, the overflow. Okay.
overflow is like kind of like uh, overflow is like, do you know when you are when you are when you are drinking water or pouring water inside a a a this thing, what is the name, when you are pouring water inside a cup, um it fills up and starts to pour more than it's supposed to pour. You're kind of like saying that it's overflowing, but now in CSS,
Yes.
when something is overflowing, you see that same analogy. that what how is, or will I say how is what is supposed to contain is no longer containing it. So you can actually like cut it off. Are you guys still lost?
So in this context, so what exactly did we cut off with the hidden overflow?
The back
Because
the background color.
when we move this thing, when we move there's the link to the left. When it went up, the background color more like disappeared. It was not there.
Yes.
So when we did this overflow, it now appeared.
The overflow is kind of very difficult like it passed the screen that we are using.
Exactly.
So they are now trying to say that cut off anyone that is remaining at the end of the screen. We don't want it. Just hide it, not like cut off. Hide
Outside the screen.
it. Yes, hide it so that we can continue in what we are doing. So it hid the remaining. It's just like clothes. If you are cutting clothes and then there is this small part, just fold it to the back. Fold it to the back so that you can see everything clear. That's what it is.
Okay.
All right, let's continue. I think I get it now.
So
It's inside the list.
is there another thing I'm missing? Let me add some padding to this too. If it's like 4 cells. So it to increase more. Maybe I will. You want to say something?
I noticed something.
Yeah.
This stuff is already 100%. Is it because a list is by default 100% of the screen? That's why it's like that. You
Is
know,
the
normally
is
that time they're trying to do it. Then we had to, for it to make it the screen adjustable and all that. You understand? We had to make the border width to be 100%. Right? So, is it border width that be? Yes, border width. I think that was what we did. So, I'm asking now, because if you notice, if you adjust your screen, if you reduce your screen, you
Yeah.
see that it will be reducing, it will be adjusting with it. So I'm asking, is it because it is by default? It is by default that's 100%. Or what did we add that cost this?
interesting question. Okay, this is like a nice question. I won't lie. So, this is our list bar. We added the padding. We added all of those stuff. We added the background. So, looking at it like technically by default, yeah, you should have by a default, what I say, a default. What is the name again? Full width.
Setting.
Wait.
Yeah.
Okay. So that means most of the things we do, we might not really have to come and start assigning a border width. It automatically have border width by itself.
No, you may not actually need a border width for this, except you want to style something. You get. If you actually want to add style to this, you may want to do it yourself and all that. You can actually give it a
Border
border
width
if
is
you want
just
to.
to make it. Sure, border width is just to make it to blend with whatever screen you're using. If it is Android, if it is iPhone,
No, no, it's not. It's
that's
not
what.
border with. That is like media query, where you whereby you use minimum width and minimum maximum width. You get that whenever you start adjusting your screen, it should run this CSS code whenever it reaches this maximum width size, or it should run that CSS code whenever it reaches this maximum width size.
Okay.
So that is just it for the whole border width and all that stuff. No, not border width. Sorry, media query. Border width is just the thickness of the border. It's not actually. You can add border to this if you want to. You can actually add a border to it. You can still do that same 1 pixel, or you can give it any pixel size, or give it solid. Maybe give it like black. You still appear. You get.
Yeah.
So I if I don't know if you visit websites a lot, but I noticed that some websites actually use this method of border width too frequently these days. Uh, I need to
Which
move.
one?
Give me a sec. I don't. Have you visited Gumroad? Gumroad. If you
Sorry,
visit
that is from
Gumroad, okay, Gumroad, you is a place whereby you can buy templates. What I say, some designed things, pre-designed templates already. Yeah, that's where you can use Gumroad. So they use this type of design. Maybe I should even load up the website and Gumroad.
Let's see.
My website will actually be poor. I don't know. It's not loading fast because a lot of things are connected to this internet, streaming to YouTube and also streaming to. Okay, look at it. So these guys actually tried came up with a new design that they always have to be adding borders of black to anything that they are designing. Black, black. You get. So they made their website in such a way that you must be adding black border to almost everything that they are doing. And it's more like a new design that I'm seeing these days. So everybody has their own taste, sure. Yeah, I've shown you what I wanted you to see, sure. So this is just a normal, what I call it, normal nav bar. Hopefully God helping us tomorrow. I want to do another type of navbar. I want to do another type of navbar, another style they used to create this navbar and all that. But today I said I must touch this ID and classes. I have to touch it today, so to it will come on my mind. I don't know if there is there any question.
Not from me so far.
And the clear too.
Okay. So classes will begin. I'm going to. There's no need of creating a new file. I'm going to still use this and explain it. Now, there is this HTML tag that you'll be coming across frequently. Before I go into classes and attributes, classes as an attribute, there is this HTML file that usually, or this HTML tag that you usually be seeing from now on. Like what I mean usually now, after I just open it up now, that is made you'll be seeing it plenty times. And that is the div tag. Now, this div tag is more like saying you are dividing something. Div is like division bar. Now, anytime you use a div tag, you are kind of creating a container in your screen or on your screen, saying on the container of this screen, this is what I want to do. Okay, and this is going to contain so and so and so and so. So before I proceed, there is this attributes called class. Now, whenever you want to use a class, you want to like separate it from, what I say, from other elements. Class and ID usually for the whole separation stuff. So a class attribute is often used to point a class name on your CSS. You get, and you can always use it in JavaScript. That is when we get to JavaScript. If you want to start doing the whole manipulation of elements, class is very, very essential because you need to use it, and you will definitely use it when it comes to HTML elements manipulation. All those styles and movement of things and animations and all that, you use your class attributes in hand with JavaScript to manipulate things on your website that you're building. So how do we put that class attributes? We first of all, the same way we write attributes, we can say that I can say here I'm going to write class. I can give it a name. What should I give it? Agency. Now, in this class name that is called agency, I'm going to give this let me use a small letter. It's always good to use small letter all through.
Why?
It makes things like more organized, and majority of the people use small letter. And if you use everything as small letter, it should be making sense to another person that collected your code and is reading it. So even if you use any other
I don't
thing,
want it to make sense to me now.
Wow, you want war. You don't like peace.
It doesn't make sense to
She doesn't like peace. I like peace. I don't like war. I
You
want
can imagine.
problems.
Okay, myself, because somebody is going to understand it. Hey, okay,
Uh, is-
Well, yeah, I think it's just for, I think it's always more for the ease of the person typing the codes. That's what I feel. So I wouldn't have to be going to caps lock and on.
it's absolutely everything. It's just laziness. So
Yes.
it's nothing. It's just
That's what I feel.
laziness.
is
You can
laziness.
just hold your shift key and type your letter. It will give it capital of that particular one you want. But no, by the time they hand it, they are supposed to put that letter.
No, no,
I
the
feel it's
it's actually like I would like using that caps lock the time. Yeah, I look a lie. As if there was a way they can eliminate caps lock entirely. Oh my god, I'll be very happy because I won't have to
so
like
that you
start.
just tell the system what it's to do.
It's goes, caps lock like if caps lock like takes a percentage of your time while typing, just ba 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 ba, you now press shift and start holding another key. No, but if everything or you know that all your hands are on the keyboard just like that, yeah, and it will save you like I don't know how many seconds it will take you to press caps lock. So if it takes you to if you press like 60 caps locks per day and it takes you 1 second to to press one caps lock, check
The first one.
you've saved 1 minute from your time. You became more efficient by 1 minute.
That's
So
true, bro.
These students should go to sleep now for goodness. Not only know that because they are not.
so I can come here and give it a name, give it a H1 tag. I can say I want my H1 tag to be uh an agency. I want the class to be an agency. I want the H1 tag to be tech hub. Let's call it tech hub.
You
And
don't H2. So which one after is it H2 tag or H1 tag?
well, let's give it H1. Sorry, I actually made a mistake there. So I can give it a paragraph tag. So I'm saying capital letter, caps lock. I'm mistakenly using these shifts and give it dummy text of. Let me give it dummy text of 6. Now, if I should come over to this other place now, use another div. Can use another div. Then I'll still fill it up. Let me give it H1 again. Say I want this H1 to be Zeus Hub. RM7. And give this H3. Let's use that same H1 too. Give it Mixitech. And oh, this first one, I'm going to add logo, put my name here. Now, look at this thing now. I'm going to copy this thing, this first design here. Keep it at the top. Keep it at the top so to not displace what we are doing. I come here and refresh. Now, if I come here and refresh, I'm definitely going to see my list here, but now there is something about this class that I need to know. If I come over to my CSS, when I come over to my CSS, or if I come over to my CSS, what I'm going to do is that I want to style all of these things. Normally, if I want to style, I will just call the Yeesh. So normally if I want to style this the way we have been doing it, I will just come and start putting div. Now div will have background color of yellow. Let's give it that background color of yellow. After giving the background color of yellow, and if I refresh, these divs will have a background color of yellow. But that is how we have been doing it, just by calling that element name. You get? But ish. Okay. But if I want to style it now with this attribute class name, or if I want to style all of these things but differently, you get, my normal div is reflecting for the three of them, but what I'm going to come here, if I want to style only this one here, only this one over here, which is this first one, if I want to style it, what I'm going to do is come here. Instead of putting this div, this is the important part. Instead of putting this div, I'll use that agency name, that class name we gave it. I'll use this class name. But to access this class name, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use dot agency. When I use dot agency, what is going to happen is that only this one that I highlighted will be styled, and this is what happened. You get? So I don't know. I sounded like Christopher's this thing's about off. So
Network is not bad. Even me, my own is shaking as well. I don't even know what's going on.
it sounded like his laptop was about to off. So, I don't know, but
Battery. Now I rush plug my own. I beg. Do we still have the notes?
we don't have that much again. The live stream is showing 1 hour 30 minutes, so but I've given you like the basic rundown of what I want to pass now. So if you want to use this, if you want to use class uh this class attribute, you can use this class attribute if you want to design something specific. There is something similar that class attributes has with id, or you want to design two different things specifically. Like even if I come here and give this last div the same class attribute name as agency, I give you that same thing, you'll find that whatever is going to be styled here will just, this first one and this last one we have the same style because they already have this attribute name called class, which is agency. Okay, so you can actually design different elements, or 5 elements out of 10 uniquely. Say the same way we have this listing now. You get the same way we have this list element. If I should come here and say that I want this list to have a class name of blue, if I should come to my CSS, I can say call that class name dot blue and give it a background color of blue. And if I should refresh this, you'll find out that this one has a background color of blue. I seen it. So you can actually style with the class name.
I want to understand what happened now. You give that particular one another class name.
Yes.
That's why you're able to style that one separately.
Exactly.
Okay.
So instead of writing list this or a tag this, or you can give even this a tag a class name. You get, and style it specifically. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
And style it specifically. You can say that, okay, I want this about us now to have a color of white. So I can come here and give it a class and give it a name. Any name can go, but I'm just going to write it white. If I come to my HTML list, I can say dot white. Give it a color of white. If I should refresh, you find that after this thing finish loading, you find that about us basically is white in color. You get. So that is a brief intro on classes. I'll be working with it from now on. You get, our time is already up, so this is the part that we have to start migrating to our various beds. So we'll go again tomorrow, continue from classes and ID, these two things. I will now, at least these are the two major things I talked about. Div is like what we'll now be using more consistently. Div is what you it was when I was studying about this and I realized that, okay, the way I saw web design change. I saw divs as containers, and seeing div as containers is now seeing them like a kind of like blocks. Seeing them as blocks will help me build anything. Imagine it as though it's a Lego box. Lego box, and you can build anything that you want to build. So that was how I saw it in the end. And enough of talking for me. This is the part I I say peace out. Uh, about it. I know. Good
Like,
night.
Bye.
And that is it for today's class. See you guys next time.